Good evening, and thank you all for joining us on our new episode of Live with Mayor Ronnie Currin. My name is Rachel Morris, and I'm the Executive Director of the Rolesville Chamber of Commerce. Every month, we have a feature where we will talk about things happening in Rolesville. We will also give you an update on any of the latest projects that are happening, and then also answer any questions that you may have as a participant who's viewing the show live. You can submit your questions if you're viewing us on Facebook. If you're viewing us on YouTube, you can upload your questions and we will see them, and your questions may actually make it into the feature. So now I definitely want to introduce the man of the hour, our one and only Mayor Ronnie Currin. Hey, Mayor.
Hey, thank you, Rachel. Nice introduction. Appreciate that. Hope you're having a nice week. If you're staying inside, you're staying cool. If you're staying outside, you're getting pretty hot. But
Yes,
hope you're doing well. Hope your
I
family doing well.
am. I am. And the interesting thing is the weather, Mayor, has been so unpredictable that at one minute, I think for the early part of July, it rained. It seemed like every day for about 10 days. And then all of a sudden it's gone. Now we're back in a dry spell and get a
Right.
sprinkle here and there. So, and if you're watching tonight from Roseville, I think if you're like us, you're looking up at the clouds outside the window because the storm is brewing. So we're all just kind of fingers crossed to make it through the show. Keep power, keep internet, and keep electricity. That's the goal of tonight. So
Yeah, we need those three things to
yes,
continue. If not,
yes.
we'll just have to do it later, won't we?
Look, we'll record it and upload it so you can go
There
in and view it.
there
And
you go. There you go.
so, Mayor, you have a great lineup tonight. So,
We
if you
do.
see something, I just want to show. I love this ink pen for anyone that's wondering what's over here. This is my little ink pen from the fire department, Roseville Fire Department. It's the cutest little thing. It has a little man with a hat on. But that's what I find. I'm like a little kid over here with my new ink pen. So, thank you to
Yeah.
Fire Chief Ronnie Privet and
Yeah.
the
And we're
guys
going to
over
have the
there.
chief on the show in a couple of months, I
We
think. So
will. We
we're kind
will.
of looking forward and excited about having him on to talk about what's going on over at the fire department.
Yes, and because they are my neighbors over at the chamber, it's always fun times over there because they have we have a new truck,
Yeah.
which is
Also the ratings. I don't know a lot of people know this or not, but every fire department has a rating, and it's important because your insurance for your house in that district depends on the fire rating, and the lower the fire rating, the better your insurance premium is favorable, and the department just got reevaluated and went from a 3 to a 2, and the
wow,
lowest you can get is a 1.
wow.
It's several towns in Wake County, but not many that has 1. And so, that's going to help everybody in town's insurance policy. They do a great job over there. It has to do with response time and all the stuff they have to do to prepare. But they do a really great job over there.
Well, Mayor, I will tell you, as we're talking, we talk about all these wonderful things for people that may be wondering. I do want to highlight something big that's coming up. We can highlight it again, but I think this is something I'm so excited about it. It is the State of the Town Address and Dinner, and that is happening next week on Thursday, August 18th at 6 p.m. at the Renaissance Center in Wake Forest. So we're really excited about this. This will actually be Mayor Curran's first State of the Town address. Um, Great stuff happening. Of course, we look at, we're in the midst of, as we like to say, a pandemic, and a lot of things have happened. And so, of course, as the mayor, this will be your first address to the community, to come out and actually listen to what's been happening, have an opportunity, of course, of having our other elected officials there, from the town of Roseville. So we're excited. Mayor, it's a lot that's been happening, a lot of stuff that's been going on, a lot that's moving the town in the right direction. And so we're really excited about that happening. And so for those that don't know, it's scheduled for next week. Really excited about that. Of course, if you have questions or anything about the event, you can reach out to myself at the chamber, or Barbara Timmons will provide you details on kind of what that night is going to look like. But Mayor, what's your thoughts on that as your
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah, well, it is the first one because of the setback with COVID and everything else going on. Actually, you haven't had an event in a couple of years, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I know. I know. I used to enjoy going to the to the annual chamber event, and this is part of the annual chamber event, the chamber dinner. And we hadn't had that in a couple of years, but excited about it. As you said, it's a lot of things that has happened and going on in town, but there's a lot of things to come.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that's getting ready to take off from new development. You got the Main Street Park sign up there. The whole street is going to change. It's going to go through a big facelift pretty soon, and hopefully get that all approval done by probably in another couple of weeks. I know. The Capital Area Metropolitan Group is supposed to vote on it next week, and I hope very shortly we'll get that going. But it's just so much happening in town, really is.
And so that's a great opportunity for anyone who is not aware of this event happening. It is happening next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Renaissance Center. And so let's go ahead and get into the show, Mayor. I'll bring on our first guest. And, I always, he's an interesting person. I say that in such a nice way. If you ever have an opportunity, or if you are ever out and you see a group of people out on their bikes riding around, you may have seen him. And so I will tell anyone, if you're interested in what's happening when it comes to, greenways or anything like that, him and his group, I say him and his group because I know quite a few people that ride with him, and they so casually say, oh, we're just going to ride a couple miles. We'll be right back. And, I'm thinking, okay, Mayor, you may get me for 1 mile, but they're just like, yeah, we'll do a couple and we'll be back, Rachel. We'll see you when we get back. So we're going to bring on Derek.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't rode with Derek, Rachel, but Derek and I go walking a lot. We walk a lot of the trails. He'll get his little hatchet thing out, his little machete, and we'll clear away, and we'll try to get through there. We have a lot of fun, and it's been a little bit too hot to do that lately. But I'm looking forward to get cooler, and we can get back out there again, Derek. But welcome to the show, Derek.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that welcome. Thank you.
Hope you're doing well. Like kind of said in the introduction, we hadn't had a chance to get together much lately. We were getting out pretty routine there. We got a couple of places we want to do.
Yep.
But over, I guess, the last couple of years, I got to know you pretty good, Derek, and you pretty much known around town a little bit. But for the people that don't know you, maybe introduce yourself. Tell us how long you lived here and some of the key points you like about town.
So I grew up outside of Washington, D.C., went to school in Virginia Beach, spent 16 years in Chicago before moving here to Rolesville about 6 years ago. So I got myself, my wife, 3 boys, all through the school system here. I got here and this area really reminded me a lot of where I grew up. Outside of DC in Maryland. I love the scenery. I love the topography. I love the natural atmosphere that we have here in Rolesville. And essentially, after looking at some of the communities around and what was happening in Wake Forest, what's happening in Raleigh, I don't know. I just kind of got really interested in getting involved with the future of Rolesville and how its greenway system was going to look and how its trail system was going to look. And that's what got me interested in started in here, because there's so much undeveloped land in and around Rolesville that I really wanted to see it really develop in a way that was going to really maintain that natural atmosphere.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's so true. Before we get too deep into the show, I got to ask you, did you go out to the Jamboree last night?
I did, and that was a rather eventful evening with all the delays, with the lightning and all that. But yes, it was a fun event. I really enjoyed it. That's he's referring to the Rolesville High School football Jamboree. Offense looks great. New quarterback with ours graduating and going down to Florida. Our new quarterback looks really good. So I'm really looking forward to this football season for sure.
So we're going to
got a great kicker in there too.
There you go. We're going to win the championship this year, right?
I certainly hope so, man. It looks like we definitely have the opportunity to do that. So it looks really good.
Gotcha. Tell me a little bit about, your your experience of volunteering. You do a lot of volunteering in town. That's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on the show, kind of talk about, a lot of things people volunteer for stuff other people are not even aware of it pretty much.
Yeah.
And just kind of talk a little bit about your volunteering. You talked about a little bit a few minutes ago, but how did you actually how's that experience been? Because I know it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it can be a lot of work, and like a lot of that kind of stuff, it's what you make of it. And I guess sometimes when you get into the weeds of it, you dig deeper and deeper and find some things to get more and more involved with. But yeah, I started off with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. That's the place that I started really with the town. And that kind of got me exposed to some of the other areas of uh-oh. Here's our storm warning. But yeah, so I started off with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, found my way into the Open Space and Greenway Committee. That was working a lot with Terry, who you've had on the show here in the past. And then it's just a lot of the other stuff that pops up from all the studies and all the focus groups that the town has conducted over the past several years. Whenever I caught wind of one, I just went and throw my 2 cents in the hat and see where it goes.
Right. I think we're having technical problems, Rachel. We did have a lightning strike here. You said you started on the Parks and Rec Board, and sometimes, I think the Parks and Rec Board meets once a month.
Correct.
So, some people volunteer and they just come to a meeting once a month, and that's kind of their involvement. But you seem to be a person that just got deeper and deeper and more involved and got on committees and just kept going with it, right? I mean, you took it to a different level than just being on the Parks and Rec Board.
I mean, I think, yeah, I guess I have. I mean, I've dug into it. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot of things that, hadn't been in place over the course of the years, and with the town growing, the staff growing, processes being put in place that hadn't been there before. It certainly has given me an opportunity to get a little bit more deeper involved and get into things a little bit more. That's certainly true.
Yeah. Describe the planning. The Parks and Recreation Board a little bit for the people watching. Exactly kind of what do you do? What's the value you add to the commissioners, I would say, and the town staff?
Yeah, it's an interesting structure, and it's obviously very common in these municipal governments. But basically, the advisory board is kind of really that. When there's situations or plans or concepts that involve parks and recreation, this board will review all of those things, get through the nit and gritty, look at all the fine items and fine details that go along with whatever the plan is or whatever the project is. And we do a lot of that real detailed work and analysis. And I just mean that more in a discussion kind of sense. We talk through a lot of things. And essentially our job is to present the town commissioners a sort of summary, if you will, or a decision or a recommendation of what we think between ourselves and our exposure and knowledge of the residents of Rolesville, what they would like to see happen. And that way the commissioners can use that information and base their decisions accordingly. It really just saves commissioners the time and effort to have to go through a whole bunch more stuff, since there's so much they're covering anyway. So that's kind of what we do. We take care of a lot of that busy work when it comes to trying to figure out what's going on in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I agree. I think it maybe give them the extra voice too, right? An extra person, extra representative, maybe. And I know you guys work on a lot of things, and we just did the just did the Parks and Recreation and the Open Space Greenway plan, bike plan, including the bike plan. Maybe talk about that. I think we actually approved that a couple weeks ago. So and it took a long time to put that together. Maybe describe what's in there.
Yeah. So most recently, it was the bicycle and pedestrian plan and the greenway, open space and greenway plan. Other plans involved just the overall comprehensive plan for Parks and Recreation, the Fraser Farm project, that proposal. So yeah, we get involved in a lot of those kinds of things, and specifically with the open space and greenway plan that was recently adopted. That's looking at our current infrastructure. It's looking at plans and developments that are currently underway. It looks at the overall landscape of the town and how we can not only build a network of greenways for our residents within the town to use, but how we plan them out to connect externally, whether we're connecting to the existing Neuse River Greenway system, whether we're connecting to Wake Forest system, or even toward the east and south of Zebulon and in those areas. So all of those things are talked about and discussed, and we look at maps and we look at developments, and we're really just trying to figure out the best location for these greenways to be placed. Again, for, as I mentioned earlier, to preserve, the nature that we have here in town.
Right. So after it's been done and was approved and all, how do you feel like it turned out? What do you like about it? What you don't like about it, I guess?
I like that it's updated. The last one I think we had technically for greenways was back in 2001, I think. That might have been the bicycle plan. I can't remember. The other one was in 2007. Anyway, it's far too long to go with as much growth as that we've experienced here. It's just far too long time passed before getting something updated. It gives us an expression that's used a lot is it gives us some teeth, right? It gives us the ability to say, this is what the town wants. This is what we want to do as developers come in and plan things, as opposed to just kind of laying things out and saying, hey, we'd like it here, we'd like it there. So with these plans in place, it gives us the ability to feel more comfortable that the vision that we see is actually going to happen. And so that's what's really good about it. And of course, with anything, there's always going to be difference of opinions in one way or another, some subtle and some not so subtle. So there are a couple things that were omitted that I'd like to address and have some more discussions about and offer as an amendment to these plans to give a little bit more definition in areas that I feel we lack it. And that's a lot from the experiences I've had over the last couple of years working with the committees, particularly in a situation where we don't have those teeth. So yeah, it's got a lot of really good things because things are really defined out. Things are getting us connected to the area around us, and it's a policy in place that we can actually point to, and that's a really big plus for the kind of growth that we're experiencing.
Right. Yeah. And you said a couple things was omitted, and I think the committee was talking about a proposed bridge over the bypass, for example.
Right. Yep.
Rather than having to cross, with traffic lights and stuff.
Yep.
And I think that got omitted. It didn't get in there. Is that
Correct.
something? Is that an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, that example, and this is something that the Open Space and Greenway Committee put together, I think 2 years ago now. We created a list of priorities for the Greenway system. I think that we had a total of 8. And I think most of them got in this plan, but the two notable ones are the 2 pedestrian bridges that we felt would really make Rolesville a really complete walkable town. The first one, as you mentioned, would be the one over the bypass on East Young going toward the high school. There's going to be 800 some homes being put in over there over the next couple of years, and and having that side of the bypass being able to walk safely to downtown Rolesville was a real high priority for our group. And we felt that an overpass was certainly going to be a safer way to do that with the type of traffic we see on the bypass. And the second bridge that we were looking to promote is actually one on Rogers Road toward Wake Forest. There's that little dip, right in that area that washed out when Hurricane Matthew came in. There's that little dip right by the park over there that we feel would be a really awesome place to put a pedestrian bridge, because that's a very difficult place to cross with the limited sight that you have, the speed of vehicles through that area as well. But I also really like that location because if you envision a pedestrian bridge going across Rogers Road right there, you can have a welcome to Rolesville message on one side and thank you for visiting Rolesville on the other side. And I think it creates a really nice kind of boundary as well as a nice message about Rolesville coming into it. So I think that was something that we missed out on this plan. So, we'll do some more work and we'll try to get that amended in there. And just because it's in there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen anytime soon, but it's certainly something we want to put our sights on.
Exactly. People just listening to you, Derek, they can tell you have a lot of passion for what for what you're doing, and because the things you trying to make happen will be here for 100 years or so, like a bridge or something like that, and you got a lot of passion for that. And I know talking to you, one of your passions has to do with the outdoor museum idea.
Yeah. Right.
I know you're in the museum downtown, Little House Museum right now. I can see the background there, so you're hanging out down there. But this is more like a natural or nature museum outside. What do you envision on this thing?
Yeah, this is something that I'm really excited about. This was passed in conjunction with the in conjunction with the Open Space and Greenway Plan. And essentially, what the idea here is to do is to create an experience on the Greenway for really anyone to run into, literally. But it's an extension of a lot of things. It's an extension of a lot of thoughts. It's an extension of the museum that I'm sitting in right now, and it basically addresses three things or provides three types of stations, is what we call them, outdoor museum stations. We want to highlight a lot of things about Rolesville, and the three main things are the geological features that we have here. There's plenty of really big old trees here that could be singled out as an interesting aspect to the town. We've got waterfalls in a lot of different areas that the greenways don't quite reach right now. And we also have, as many people know, granite. We've got lots of granite here, and almost every neighborhood has some form of exposed granite. So we want to highlight these things, and we want to educate people on what those are. And as being scrolled right through here is an example of an aerial view of what an outdoor museum station might look like. It's right off the side of the greenway. It's a little pad with a bench, some landscaping around it, bike racks on the right-hand side there, and in the middle is that little monument. And that's about a 48-inch tall by 30-inch wide monument that would do exactly that, would have a paragraph or so about what you're here for, and whether it's a waterfall or some granite, or one of the other outdoor museum station themes is the history and artifacts. Mike Bailey and the Historic Rolesville Society has collected a lot of artifacts found here within the town limits. And so there's lots of places along the Greenway that you literally run by. You wouldn't know that 5 feet from you, someone found an arrowhead or anything that's around me. I mean, I wish I could just take the camera up and show you, but there's so many things that are found in this town that could have been found 5 feet from you. So we want to highlight those things and get people to be more in touch with the community and more in touch with the town. And the third type of outdoor museum station is outdoor art. There are some places on the Greenway that might get, frankly, kind of boring. So if there's nothing geological interest or nothing of artifacting interest, then some outdoor art will spice it up a little bit and give a lot of people a reason to get out and about. And we're really looking forward to getting our first monument built. We've got some great support. All the developers that I've spoken to are really interested in doing this. We've got companies like State Farm Insurance with Justin Thigpen, Adam Brook over at Giant Wake Forest. Most recently, I've spoken with our friends over at Paisanos, and they're going to be budgeting for one as well. So it's really exciting. I'm really happy to see the support for this plan. I'm really excited about it.
Well, it does sound really nice, and people don't know you, Derek. After they get to know you a little bit, they just see that you come up with these ideas all the time, coming up with these ideas about things. I think you came up with an idea about the clock tower and the video on top of the clock tower and things.
Yes.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing how you come up with this stuff. But you mentioned bike racks, and it made me think. You were talking one day to me about maybe requiring all commercial development have bike racks requirements.
Right.
What's your thoughts? You think it can be more accessible to the town if you have bike racks? And you said something about lockable racks and things.
Yeah. I think, again, when we talk about Rolesville wanting to be a walkable town, there's going to be certain aspects that you can walk if you're in the immediate area of the downtown vicinities. But with the Greenway system, a lot of it's going to be bikeable. And that's part of what the bike and pedestrian plan does. It helps make the town more bicycle friendly. But our destinations have to be bicycle friendly. I mean, it's one thing to have a great network. Think of it like having a bunch of streets and no parking lots. So if you really want to promote that type of activity, then we need to provide the space for bike racks. And one of the things that is easy to do is to not have a lock for your bike. And so it would be nice to see, lockable bike stations so that if I'm out for a ride, for instance, and I'm riding through town and I'm like, oh, I really want to go do something before I go home, it would be nice to be able to pull up to a shopping plaza and park my bike and lock it up right there because I didn't bring one. Those are just kind of finer points, but to the point, having these bike racks in places that make them usable will be really helpful to reduce traffic, increase our quality of life in town, and really just enjoy the outdoors a little bit more than sitting in an air-conditioned car, which we've had to do for the last week.
Right. Before we leave, just kind of wrap things up a little bit, Derek. I know a lot of people may not realize this, but some of our boards, like the one that you are on, the Parks Recreation Board, you have to be nominated, and the board has to appoint you, and those type of things.
Right.
But there are some boards or some committees you can just volunteer for. You don't have to be appointed. And you got some committees like some open space and greenway committees that you can work on and do things and help the town to have fun that you don't really have to be officially appointed to. Maybe talk about that a little bit and how you can volunteer for some of those things.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And the Open Space and Greenway Committee is strictly volunteer. You don't need to be appointed. All you need to do is just be a warm body, show up, and whether it's virtual or in person, and just help us talk through the plans, help us talk through some of the ideas of the decisions, and just participate in any kind of context. We've got a kind of two roles there that I'm starting to define. We've got active and passive roles, and sometimes the passive ones are, everybody's got busy schedules. So there's obviously an understanding of the difficulty to commit sometimes. So I'm trying to make that committee more, friendly in that respect. I mean, so if you want to be involved, then yes, we could definitely use active people in the Open Space and Greenway Committee, where that you can attend meetings once a month and have these discussions. But if you also just want to be involved passively, it really helps. You'll get some emails of what we talked about. You can chime in, and then we'll bring those thoughts up in the next meeting. So any kind of participation is very helpful, and the Open Space and Greenway Committee could certainly use you.
And I think, with Open Space Greenway Committee, it's a lot of fun things. If you like to hike or like to explore places or go places, I guess you have to be somewhat concerned about getting bit by a snake or getting stung by bees or something, but because you really get in touch with nature out there.
You certainly can if you want to, yes.
There you go. Well, yes. I see Rachel's back.
Yep.
Rachel, was any closing thoughts or questions you have?
Well, I know that from, there's so much we did not show as far as what the committee's working on, some of the great things and, maps and pictures and things like that. And for those that are watching, this whole idea about the museum thing, the outdoor museum and anything about Rolesville history, for those who are not familiar with our history, is quite interesting. I know just from looking at, I've been to our little house museum and gallery that's here in Rolesville. When we tell people we have a history museum of some of the things around you, I think it's pretty cool that you're actually there filming as a background. So I just want to throw that out there. I think it's pretty cool because a lot of people have never been there, have never seen or learned about the history of Rolesville, because we have quite a unique history. And we actually have a lot of history that people don't realize. So I would love, when you look at the Greenway and Trails, I actually found out myself kind of about the big open, like I call it the big open hole. That's kind of right behind Redford Place that kind of sits there hidden by the trees that I discovered a lot of people go there to go fishing. And I was like, where are you fishing at? There's nowhere to fish out here. But no, when I actually looked at the map, I was like, oh, that's where that is. So, I mean, it's a lot to explore and know in Rolesville. So, but no, thank you so much, Derek. I mean, you do so much because I've had the pleasure of actually talking with him and knowing him outside of this. I know a lot of the things that he does outside of this, in addition to being a business owner, but we won't talk about that during this segment. We'll just talk about Parks and Rec and open green spaces and things like that. But it is definitely a pleasure to have you on, hang around, stick around in the background. I do want to say, I love this. Jordan popped this up for us for the storm that was happening. I was worried there for a minute, Mayor, because, it got a little rough outside for a second.
Yeah. And for people who don't know, my office is here in the police department. So, it's all kinds of alarms and everything's going off around here sometimes when bad weather comes in. Well,
thank you, Derek. Hang around backstage for us, as we like to call it. And then we will get rolling, Mayor, because I always keep I'm a steward of time. So I always make sure I keep an eye on time and, see how we're doing, because we like to make sure we stay within our parameters for the show. And rolling into our next guest and looking at some of the things, I'm excited for our next guest, Tony. For those that don't know, she has a primary care here, a direct primary care here in Rolesville. And I won't talk too much. I'll come back at the end. That way, if she doesn't talk about some of the things I like, I can ask a question and kind of throw it out there, Mayor. So I'll do that. So, hey, Tony, how are you? Oh, I think you're muted. Look, you're muted.
There
we go.
Hi, guys. How are you all?
Yeah, you made it through the storm so far, right?
Well, I got a little nervous once that lightning strike. It was pretty loud.
It was pretty close. Yeah, it was pretty close by. It sure was.
Yeah. My heart started beating a little bit.
I think we're in different ends of the building here.
Right.
So I hope you're doing well. You just got back from a trip, right? Been out of the country for a few days and just got back this week, I think. Did you have a good time?
We had a phenomenal time. We were in Trelawney, Jamaica, celebrating a friend's 40th birthday, and we had a great time. Great time. So excited to be back because, when you leave to go on vacation, things, kind of pile up on you and you got to jump back in. So, yeah, I'm excited to be back and recharged, ready to hit the ground running again.
That's good. That's good. Let's talk about that a little bit. I know you're staying busy. You got a lot of things you got going on. And I know I guess I've known you about a year now, maybe a little bit more than a year. Got to know you from the chamber and all. Got to know you really well. And but I know it's a lot of people that don't know you. Just kind of describe yourself to the audience. And I think you've lived here for about 3 years, or coming up on 3 years. What's your thoughts about Rolesville, and how's the experience been so far for you?
So I am, yes, we've been here we moved to Rolesville in 2019. We did move to the Wake Forest area in 2018. We moved, I'm a native of Wilmington, North Carolina, but we moved here from outside of Charlotte in a small town from Monroe, North Carolina. And so we moved here. My husband and I moved, and my son moved, who came and was a student at Wake Forest. He actually played football for Wake Forest. He was on the championship team for Wake Forest before he went on to play SEC football. And then I have a daughter as well, just to introduce her too. So I'm a mom of 2, and then my husband's here as well. But what I like about Rolesville, and one of the things that kind of brought us to Rolesville, is just the small town feel. I'm a country girl, so I was raised on a farm. My mom is one of 12, and so we are used to that country family feeling. And so Rolesville gives me that sense of home away from home. So that's one of the reasons why, we chose Rolesville. Where we live, there's a big field right behind our house. So that kind of, it gives me that, the happiness that I remember as a kid. So I love Rolesville and the community feel that we have. Being in a small town, you get to know your neighbors, and then not only your neighbors, you get to see other community members, and see them at different engagements, see them at the grocery store. So I really enjoy that about Rolesville.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned Wake Forest Rolesville High School. I had 3 kids that graduated from Wake Forest Rolesville High School, but now we don't talk about Wake Forest. It's Rolesville Rams. It's Rolesville Rams that we talk about now. So
yes,
and they're doing really well in football too. They did well last year. But yeah, all 3 of my kids went to Wake Forest Rolesville at the time, and they had a good program over there, and they still do.
So yeah, I'm excited about Rolesville football. I absolutely love football. I've always been a big fan of football, and so I can't wait for the season to start, because I'll hit some of the high school games, and then I'll go on to Columbia for my son's game. So I'm extremely excited about football season coming up. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so he plays for South Carolina. Is that right? The Gamecocks.
Yes, he's the Gamecock.
Cool. Good. So you get a whole weekend of football then.
Yes, and I come home and get my Sunday NFL football. So
there you go. So I thought we'd talk about your business a little bit. You've been open for maybe a year almost, or getting close to a year.
Getting close. We opened in January.
Yeah, and I know it's a different model. I mean, you was very innovative in what you're doing there. And as Rachel explained in the intro a little bit, it's a primary care facility, and maybe kind of describe to the people watching and the people that's going to be watching, on delay, what is it that you do that's different than what other medical facilities have?
So Confinity Health is what's called a direct primary care. And what sets us apart from other primary cares is our model of payment. So we're a membership-based alternative payment model is what direct primary care is. And so what all that means is just we are able to provide quality health care at a predetermined cost so that patients know exactly what to expect. So we do not bill insurance. It is a membership-based model. So you pay a monthly membership fee, and you have access to your primary care provider. And so we try to reach those people that kind of fall in the crack. We see all patients, but we try to reach those people that kind of fall in the crack of not having insurance, or don't have enough insurance. And then also we try to service those small businesses that would like to offer some type of health benefit to their employees. So that's the biggest difference between our model of care and traditional medicine or traditional model of care. But some of the benefits of direct primary care is, when we typically have a smaller patient panel, we will have about 600 patients on our panel, where the traditional model insurance or fee for service, they can have anywhere between 2,500 to 3,500 patients on their panel. So what that affords us is we can do extended office visits, meaning we don't have those, these are unhurried office visits. These are visits where you come in and we take the time that you need to discuss whatever issue you may have at the time. Not only that, that we can guarantee same day or next day appointments. So no more waiting, you call in to try to get an appointment, no more waiting for 20 days or 30 days to get an annual visit, or, I can't see you until 3 days from now, but I have a headache. So with us, it's guaranteed same day or next day appointments, whether it's in office, virtual, phone. You can reach us in any capacity of that. We do in-office testing. So we do lab testing at a fraction of the cost, a very small fraction of the cost. Our typical labs, you can probably get about, the basic run-of-the-mill labs are probably about $26 for us. And if you look at going to LabCorp and a place else, you're probably going to pay between $300 and $400 for just those labs. So a lot of good things that we can offer just because we're direct primary care, and a whole lot more good stuff that comes along with that.
Yeah, I think I saw, your rates are pretty good. And also, I think you got rates that covers family, kids, all, it's not just for adults, it's for the whole family care, if I understand it correctly.
Right. So we see patients from age 5 to you leave. So 5 to whenever. And one of the good things is we do, like as you see on the screen, ages 5 to 19. With an adult membership is $25, $35 per month if they're not a member. And $75 a month, that covers all your primary care services. And it's not a fluke. It's not a joke. It really is $75 a month. You don't pay any co-pays. There's nothing additional that you have to pay if you those visits are unlimited. So if today you have a migraine and you come in to be seen, and then 2 days later you stubbed your toe and you need to be seen, you don't pay anything additional. So it is that $75 covers you for the entire month. The only thing or only time you have to pay anything that's considered a la carte would be like I mentioned, those labs. And then if you look like for the family plan, $175 that covers 2 adults and 2 dependents under 20. And then if you need to add in additional dependents, it's $15. Now, what's different than what you see here is where we can offer different pricing for our small businesses, depending on the number of employees that they decide to bring in to get a membership for. So we just tailor that based off the needs of the small business. But again, this covers primary care services, so sick visits, chronic disease management, medication management, whatever it is that you would normally get from any other primary care. The only difference is your model of payment. So we still provide the same quality of care here that you would get anywhere else. And then, some people say it's a little better because they feel that they can take the time and we can discuss what their needs are, and they're not feeling like they're rushed because, they have those 15-minute visits and they're like, tell me what you need and we're off. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a good alternative to something like a emergency room or urgent care. Do you see a lot of those type things where people can sign up for a monthly fee and not have to worry about paying a big, I don't know what it costs to go to the emergency room today, but I think it's very expensive rather than have to pay that cost, they can kind of budget it better. It kind of helps you budget your medical expenses. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the good things is a lot of people who don't have insurance, that's where they end up. They end up at urgent care, or actually not even urgent care because you typically have to pay, but they end up in the emergency room. And that can typically cause a lot of backlogs. And that's some of the reasons why, emergency rooms are overcrowded, because we have a lot of people without insurance and they're in the emergency room seeking care because they don't feel like they have anywhere else to go. So that's one of the things that we can offer. So, you're still going to get a bill if you go to the emergency room, the bill is going to come. So one of the great things about having a primary care provider and us being able to offer our services at a monthly membership fee is that when you have an issue, you have someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, do I need to go to the primary? Can I come and see you for this issue? Is this something that I need to go to an urgent care about? Or is this something that I need to go to the emergency room? And that's for anyone. I would implore anyone who has a primary care provider to always reach out to your primary care provider first if you have an issue, especially if it's just an urgent issue and you're not really sure if you should go to the emergency room or the urgent care, because your primary care provider is your hub. That's the person that kind of directs all of your services, whether it's you getting referral to a specialist, but they also can tell you, like, no, you can come and see me for that. Don't go to the urgent care and spend extra money. Don't go to the emergency room and get this enormous bill. You should always go to your primary care provider for that. So as direct primary care, and seeing that we are trying to reach out to those people who don't have insurance, we can be that for them as well.
Gotcha. You kind of offer the first aid or first valuation or something to keep from having to go to a very expensive avenue that you don't really need to go. Is that kind of what you're saying there?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of things you find that we can handle here in our primary care location, like migraines. A lot of people end up going to the emergency room for a migraine. If you have a history of migraines, there's a lot of things that we can do here in office where that can keep you out of the emergency room. And even like urgent care things, different sick visits. So we handle anything from asthma exacerbations to, colds and flus, strep throats, all those things you can handle here in office. And then also we do all of your preventative care services too, and chronic disease managed, like dealing with diabetes, hypertension, thyroidism. So we handle all of those here in office. So like I said, anything that you would get in any other primary care service or primary care office, we offer those same thing here. So we are a primary care facility. We see sick people that, just want to have a provider that takes care of, their annual wellness exams, from sports physicals. So, we offer all of that. And also we do DOT screenings as well. So we have a lot to offer here at Confinity.
Yeah, you do. You got a wide range of opportunities there. One of the questions that came in off the internet there, do you offer any mental health or counseling services?
So we do. We're not, as a provider, there's a level of mental health therapy that we can do as a primary care provider. But as far as counseling is concerned, we do not. I do have a relationship with some great therapists in our area that I refer patients to. And then I also have other resources if that, the ones that we refer, they're not, may not work for them, but we have great resources available for those who are looking for mental health counseling.
One of the things I read when I was reading a few days ago, your little card, I saw one of your little cards up in, I think it was at the diner over here. So, you get your name out for sure. But I think the card said something like that you offer weight, what was it? Weight loss exams or something like that. What is that? What are you doing for weight loss exam?
So we have medical weight loss here at Confinity as well. So with the medical weight loss, it is based off of a medical need to lose weight. So we'll talk a little bit more about one of our other businesses that's located in Confinity and Obit, which is Harmony Hydration. So they have a little different way of helping with weight loss. But as far as with your primary care services, anyone who's a member, they automatically get it free. It is included in your membership if that's what you choose to do. But a medical weight loss exam, which includes your exam, your EKG, your lab work, And then we decide on what modalities are necessary to help you reach a healthy weight. We look at, and of course, your BMI. Your BMI typically needs to be over 30 before we would even allow you into the medical weight loss program. But so we do the exam, and then we do nutrition counseling. We talk about whatever I'd say treatment plan that works best for each patient to help them lose weight in a safe and effective manner. I will say that I tell all of my weight loss people that this is not a lose weight quick method. The healthy way to lose weight is to lose between 1 to 2 pounds a week. And typically that's where, once we get past that first initial big drop in weight, that's usually where most of our weight loss patients stay, anywhere between 2 to 1 pound, because we are in the business of creating healthy lifestyles. So I'm not trying to get somebody just to lose weight to fit in their wedding dress, or to lose weight to, because they're going to Jamaica. We are trying to create healthy lifestyles. So I want all of our weight loss patients, if for some reason they decide not to be on a weight loss program anymore, they have the tools necessary to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So that's just a little bit about it. And then, with Harmony, which is our IV vitamin infusion clinic, we have what's called a fat burner. And so that's a vitamin infusion with different vitamins that will aid in increasing metabolism, as well as burning fat quicker. So it's a vitamin infusion. So it's pretty much just what it sounds like. We infuse vitamins via IV. And the great thing about vitamin infusions is your body has 100%, or your cells get 100%, or I'm saying it backwards. You have the ability to have 100% of those vitamins available to your cells. So that's the great thing about the IV hydration. So since we're here, and do you have any other questions about Consinity I can share?
Yeah. I think one thing I maybe be a little bit clearer. This Harmony, you can do that. You don't have to be in the medical program. This is a separate program. If you need to get more nutrition, you can do that separately, right? It's two different programs.
Correct. So Consinity Health is the direct primary care. It's your primary care facility. And then Harmony Hydration is just located in our building. It's in our medical office. And it is just what it sounds like. You do not need any specific medical diagnosis to do the IV infusions. This is not anything that's medically necessary. It's those things that, we choose to do electively for, many different things, whether it's energy, or if you have a hangover, or, if you can see a couple things we got going on the screen, like if you see the one in the middle there that says the Get Well drip, that's what we use for our COVID patients, as well as people that have flu or colds. It's an immune boosting drip. It works well. We also do with Harmony, we do in-home. So we can come to you if you have COVID and you would like to have, or you're getting over COVID and you would like to have an immune booster. Everyone that we have given this to has raved about its ability to give them their energy back a lot quicker. So it helps to fight the fatigue, helps to fight some of that brain fog. And even I've had a couple people that even after getting an infusion, they noticed right away that they felt a lot better. So that's that. With Harmony, some of the good things about the IV infusions, they help with relaxation. They can help with like cognitive function. And we already talked about the immune boosting and the anti-aging properties that come with those vitamins. So, and it's just that, it's just vitamins. And so a lot of good things that you can get from it if you're looking for it. And these are all customized per patient. So these are not infusions that are pre-made. So it's based off of what the needs of I won't call them patient, but the needs of the clients are. So.
Yeah, that's a good program, and I think it's very good that there's alternatives to drugs, I would say, in some cases, with the health today, with the nutritions and the vitamins and all that kind of stuff. So before we leave, I do want to transition. I know Rachel's coming back, but you do more than for us than the business. I know I got to know you a little bit, and I was looking for someone to work with the Wake County Board of the school board, the library board, and I was talking to you. I saw you at an event. I was talking to you. I thought you would be good at that, and believe it or not, I got you nominated, and the Wake County Board of Commissioners actually voted, I think, this past month for you to be on that commission representing the Division I of Wake County. So congratulations on that, and I think you will serve a good job on the Library Commission. And I believe you have been to one of those meetings so far.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm excited about it. When you asked me, I was thoroughly excited. Just I mentioned to you about my background in education, so to be able to pull that in, and be able to volunteer in that capacity, I'm really, really excited about doing so. So I'm looking forward to what we can do to try to close this gap and make sure that the last municipality in Wake County that does not have a library gets one, and that's us here in Rolesville. So as a member of the Library Commission, that's one of my goals too, because I understand the impact that libraries can have on our communities. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what I can do or what I can aid in making sure that we can get that to happen.
Well, I appreciate you volunteering for that, and I know you're going to do a good job. I think we're making some progress towards getting a library. We got a site for them, and we're going to start working with a memorandum with them to to develop that site and get us a library in the next few years, I hope. But appreciate it, Tony. Was there any questions? Anything you got, Rachel? I know you said you may have a couple things.
I did. I had a question, Tony. I know with the IV infusions, how often would you recommend those for people?
So the recommendation is anywhere between a week to 2 weeks. We typically recommend 2 weeks just because of the cellular turnover rate. Typically cells turn over every 2 weeks. So it is just recommended every 1.5 to 2 weeks, depending on what your needs are. We do have some patients that have like fibromyalgia and some other health issues like MS that they benefit from doing it a little more frequently. But typically 1.5 to 2 weeks.
Okay. And then I know that you have the interesting thing is I was reading an article. There are all of these new drugs. Well, they're not new, that have turned out where they help certain patients, like you mentioned diabetes and things like that. And I saw the article where they were talking about because they found out that the medication, I think it's called Wegovy is one, is like two others that I saw that one, they found out that it helps patients lose weight. So what's end up happening is that patients are now being prescribed this that have had trouble with weight loss, and there's a shortage because now the people that need it with diabetes are not able to get the medication. And then also looking at things that are happening, kind of across the world politically, I know that a lot of our medications and drugs and pharmaceuticals are made in China. And so there's a big thing talking about the possible impact that our economy, our communities and things like that could have, potentially looking at how things move forward with China. But my question to you as a medical professional, what type of things are you kind of preparing for, or, what are you doing to help some of your patients when we're dealing with shortages like that?
So one of the good
Tony, I'm sorry. This girl loves to read
I know
over
exactly
here.
what you mean, because that's some of the things that we're dealing with, like you mean, and especially this semaglutide is what's being used a lot for the weight loss injections. And yes, it is a diabetic medication. The great thing about that is a lot of other diabetic medications that we can choose from. But when we come up against issues like that, one of the good things is we still have compounding pharmacies. So I do have some relationships with some compounding pharmacies that are able to get medications or able to, to find things that we may not have access to from our big pharmas. So there are many different ways around getting, our patients what they need. So that's one of the great things about us. We have the time as a direct primary care, we can do the research because we're not inundated with as many patients as what you would see at other facilities. So that's one of the good things. So we have the ability to stop and kind of do the research and find things for our patients and our members. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Look,
Yeah.
I had, Mayor, I had to think about my question, how I could put it out there, because we try not to go into politics, but, I do love to read and I like to stay up to date on things happening. And that's a big one that some people are not paying attention to, especially when you look at our pharmaceuticals. And, we don't want another baby formula issue potentially happening. And so I do want to say, for those that, of course, we always love our people that pop on. Best medical provider, of course, love you so much for all of those comments. Hey, Yandri, look, we love to see people happy with the coverage. And I love your model. It is definitely something different. And definitely great medical coverage here in town. And I also know you also have like some pharmaceutical pieces to help people with their medications and getting their things like that filled. So I tell anyone, if you are not familiar with her website or want to know where Toni is located, she's located right here in town, right down from the police department. So she's down the street from there. So you can't miss her in Southtown Circle. So definitely a great option. And we're excited to have you here in Rolesville. And we've told you that I don't know how many times, how excited we are to have you here in Rolesville. So thank you so much, Toni.
We certainly are, Toni, and just thank you for all the work you do. You do a lot of things for the town, and you're very active in the chamber, and you do a lot there. So just appreciate all you do. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed that time.
Yeah, absolutely. We can go ahead and bring Derek on as we wrap up, Mayor, because we always work to stay within that hour. So definitely thank our two guests tonight, Derek and Toni. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on and share. You all shared like a little snippet. You didn't even, you do so much and you offer so much. There's a lot that we couldn't cover in the 1 hour segment. But I'll say to anyone who wants to know them, both are approachable. I promise you. If you see them in Food Lion, which is always the hot spot in town, in Food Lion. I just saw Derek in Food Lion. So if you are in Food Lion, I promise you, if you go up to them, they will talk to you and you can ask them questions. So it's always a great option to be able to say that, we always talk about community here in town and things like that. And we have a great community here. So we definitely want to be excited about that. And Mayor, for our next show, we have coming up in September, we have Lisa Kane and we have the new principal from Rolesville High School. So we're excited to have them on and be able to share a little bit about what's happening with them. And for those that don't know, Principal Perry, I think he came on, I think, right before the school year ended last year, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He was there. So if you've been around, he's definitely working. Principal Lassiter left a great legacy there at Rolesville High School. So we're definitely excited to have him on to talk a little bit about the school and things that are happening and what's to come. So
certainly good to have him. I met with him several times now, I think, and got to know him a little bit. She did leave a legacy, as you said, Principal Lassiter did, but he brings a legacy with him.
Yeah,
he has an outstanding resume working with other schools and stuff. So he has a lot that he could do for us and do for Rolesville High School, and it's a very good high school out there, and I'm excited about seeing Derek out there on Friday nights coming up when it gets a little bit cooler.
Right.
We're gonna, and I guess we may see Toni out there if she's not in Georgia somewhere or South Carolina. But
they may need to talk to Toni about that IV infusion. They may need to go get them a get up and go drip is what they may need to do. For the coaches and the team that are watching, she does have a performance and recovery drip for those that don't know. So that is an option for those athletes.
Just make sure it's legal.
We could work something out for the team. We definitely try to figure out what we can do to make sure that our team is at optimal performance. So
There you go. There you go. Because we want to win that championship this year.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
I would talk to the principal about that a little bit next week. And Lisa, a lot of people don't know Lisa. Lisa been around town for a while. She was very close friends with Mayor Frank Eagles before he retired, and she was very instrumental in some of the early things that early economic development ideas around town. So not only does she run a nonprofit and she was associated with the charter school, but also she does some developmental stuff. So it's going to be 2 exciting guests next month. So we're kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, as we say, time definitely moves faster. And we kind of joked about it a little bit, but because I'm such a nerd over here, there was some scientific evidence that actually said we lost time. I don't know if you guys paid attention to that. So whenever you're thinking about it, Mayor, when you talk about next week, it may end up and snap your fingers. It could seem like next week.
It does. The weeks, it feels like it was just last week that we had the other show. So it goes by fast. You're exactly right.
Yes, it does. And I was at Disney, so it definitely seemed like it was.
And next week we got the big state of the town and the dinner. So that is next week. So
for anyone who has questions, make sure if you want to join us, come out and join us and listen to the Mayor's State of the Town address. And it is now, Mayor, time for us to close the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us online and viewing this. If you view this later, of course, just remember everything we told you. If you see us in town or you want to talk to us and you see us walking, or for Derek and those others that ride or walk or anything, just stop us and talk to us, and you can ask us questions and things like that. You had something, Tony?
I do. Mayor Currin and Derek, I heard you talk about walking. One thing I didn't mention is we have what's called our Wealthy Walkers. We walk every other Saturday. We'd love to figure out a way that we can join you guys. We walk the trails too. So that's typically what we do. Saturday mornings, every other Saturday morning at 8. So next Saturday is our Saturday to walk. So we'd love to see you guys come join us.
Yeah.
That's part of our chaos.
We'll have to look you up. And I want to say one more thing too. I just want to wish my mother a happy birthday. It's her birthday today. So
what's your mother's name?
Elizabeth Ramadan.
So you have to make sure you say it. It's so important to say the name.
Yes, Elizabeth Ramadan, my mother. I love you. Happy birthday.
Look, happy birthday, Mom. I can't call you by your name. That's just rude. I feel like, it's just something built in me. I can't call you by your name. So I'll just say happy birthday, Mom.
She's my birthday twin. Today's my birthday as well.
What? And now you tell us? Look, and you're hanging out with us tonight for your birthday. Thank you so much.
That's how much I love Rolesville.
She's got cake right there. She's got cake sitting in front of her.
Yeah. The party's just starting. Is that right?
She's got a birthday infusion ready to go.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Shanta, for telling Tony happy birthday. Look, see, now I'm going to have to go. Yes, look, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching us and joining us online. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe. It looks like the clouds and everything are clearing up. So always stay safe and have a wonderful week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Bye.